Bro, this dude Zazo called me mid-recording, and I just have to reset all of this. These two masterclass hunters surprisingly don't get compared often in a versus battle setting, which I find to be very strange considering both Garou and Toji Zenin in a way have a very similar archetype within their own universes as the type of character they are. Both are the physical anomalies that almost act as a force of nature rather than your average foe. In this scenario, Toji will be given the objective to assassinate Garou. Now there are a couple variations of both characters, so to be more specific, we are pretty much giving Toji what he was given in his fight with Gojo, so his little worm, his chain, and the soul split katana along with his Glock. Unlike in that fight, we're going to be saying that this Toji is not rusty and he shook off the rust right before fighting Garou. So I'm going to be doing my best to try and break down a hypothetical Prime Toji. And Garou, who already to begin with has multiple forms, and in all honesty it gets more and more ridiculous as they keep coming. Like for reference, we can have one form that changes his eye red and changes his hair red, gives him little fangs, and then some transformations turns him into a gigantic monster that is a threat to the cosmos itself. When it comes to Garou's transformations, there's really no in between, so to be more specific, we're not going to be using transformed Garou here. We will be only using the first two seasons of One Punch Man, as this is the only version of Garou that Toji has any chance of beating. So to be more specific, the video is could Prime Toji hunt Human Garou? Firstly, we shall talk about Garou because not only is this my GOAT, my glorious king, and I aspire to be more like him more than Toji, and regardless of who you think wins this scenario, Garou's physique is superior. Anywho, Garou, despite only being a human in his universe, is someone who resembles more of a monster. He was Bang's #1 prodigy, and he picked up and nearly perfected the flowing stream rock smashing fist. But of course, if need be, he'll use his mastery of hand-to-hand to redirect his opponent's power back at his opponent. This is really what the style is all about, allowing you to specifically send back double the force of your opponent's attacks, along with hitting specific vital points to take you down. He precisely hits and takes down his opponent, and we see as he fights more heroes, he's able to counter brawlers, swordsmen, and even firearms as a whole. Garou himself did most of this when he was half dead and poisoned, by the way. This not only speaks to his ridiculous endurance and how much pain Garou could really take before collapsing, but also his adaptation, which might just be Garou's greatest strength. Garou improves within pretty much every fight he participates in, implementing your own moves against you. A prime example of this is Garou utilizing Watchdog Man's moves on Genos to throw him off after he just got no-dived by Watchdog Man. He goes on to show this ability way more when he becomes a monster, but again, we can't really use those instances because that is a stronger Garou. He dropped Tank Top Master in his first encounter along with most of the Tank Top students, and he nearly defeated Metal Bat without taking a single blow before almost dying from an off guard. He managed to somehow survive a fight with Watchdog Man, survive a fight with Saitama, and somehow clutched a 1v8 scenario with A and B class heroes. This dude is a fighting prodigy, but even excluding and disregarding Garou's skills, he has some pretty ridiculous physical stats as well. We know S-class heroes bare minimum are capable of dealing with city level threats, and Garou was able to beat down 2 of them. This isn't inconsistent as well, given that season 1 Genos was able to destroy a chunk of a mountain with similar levels of energy. And it's actually stated that Genos in this panel blew away multiple mountains when shooting this, so this feat could actually end up being, but mind you, even Garou at like 1 HP is deflecting and combating a much stronger Genos than the one from season 1. So even if you don't think they're mountain level by this point, baseline they are far power creeping characters or versions of Genos that are already in this tier. Genos by season 1 should already be city level, and then he gets upgrades, and then this same upgraded Genos struggles with a weakened Garou. As far as speed goes, I feel like it's even easier to break down since we're also using Genos as a measuring stick as well. Jacket Genos is far faster than the one from the beginning of season 2, and this same Genos is capable of reacting to actual light-based lasers, and he seems to be able to dodge multiple of these at once. However, if you wanted to downplay Garou and say he doesn't reach lightspeed until his later variations due to Flashy Flash only being lightspeed, he should bare minimum be upscaling from season 1 Genos, like I said, who, mind you, can fight Deep Sea King, who's capable of blocking Lightning Max's lightning fast kicks. And this isn't an exaggeration or taken out of context like, for example, Kandaka's lightspeed shoes from Sakamoto days. Max's powers are literally lightning based, and he accelerates at these same speeds and gets mistaken for actual strikes of lightning. A dehydrated Deep Sea King can react and even blitz this version of Max. The Sea King is relative to the Sky King, who got obliterated by Melzagard, and Melzagard in his berserker state was being reacted to by a base Metal Bat. Meanwhile, Garou in season 2 is reacting to a pumped up Metal Bat who should be way faster. So even if you don't think Garou is lightspeed by season 2, he's blitz level differences above the speed of lightning. Now with the hero hunter out of the way, let's talk about the sorcerer killing calamity, Toji. Now Toji, unlike Garou, who has a sense of justice he wants to enforce, Toji mainly does this for the bag. However, despite fighting for different reasons, Toji is still, like Garou, and a cold-blooded monster. He does whatever it takes to hit his mark, carrying firearms, a katana that can cut your very soul, and a chain that is seemingly never-ending. He keeps all this with a little worm around his neck that is so goddamn ugly. I hope Garou is at least able to kill this thing in this versus battle, cause goddamn, I need him erased from existence. And I know motherfuckers be like, oh my god, he's so cute. No, this motherfucker is not cute, bro. Anywho, despite having weapons and being kinda just big strong, Toji's physical prowess is unparalleled. When it comes to pure hand-to-hand, I feel like he's just a more mature version of awakened Maki who's capable of utilizing precognition and fights with hand-to-hand mastery. She, like Garou, has learned from different fighting styles and even adapted and implemented those same styles that she fought against into her own. She also should just be more skilled than the likes of Todo, who himself is stated to have mastery in close quarters combat. Toji in his introduction was capable of killing both Gojo and Geto, who by this point were the strongest in their. This doesn't mean much aside from maybe upscaling from Yuki, but it's possible she could just be stronger later on in the series. But Yuki is still the same person who could fight Kenjaku, and that's the same guy who can react to point blank piercing bloods. This attack's initial speed comes out to around the speed of sound, and Kenjaku dodges this multiple times at point blank range. Toji as well should be upscaled from awakened Maki, who's capable of evading a Mach 3 Naoya. We can't quantify her exact speed, but based on the statement and how she managed to evade him, there's calculations on her feat against Naoya coming out to around almost Mach 6, which is nearly 2 times the initial speed he was going at. I think baseline Toji should be more than capable of moving at these speeds, and we even have him in the anime evading Nue's lightning at point blank ranges. Now this feat is iffy as for one, it's not in the manga at all, and two, Nue more than likely isn't shooting literal lightning because we have later on characters doing that. And I don't think we're gonna say Kashimo and Nue have the same attack speed. But even with these factors in mind, Toji dodging Nue's lightning comes out to around Mach 228 or massively hypersonic. In my opinion, it's a little bit harder to rep JJK any higher than hypersonic, but for this video, I'll be nice and say he managed to dodge lightning in his Edo state, therefore in his prime, he's even faster. Sorry for rambling about speed there, it's just super annoying when it comes to JJK, but attack potency is a lot simpler. Toji should just be physically hitting harder than Yuta, who is able to withstand Ryu's cursed energy blast. Based on the craters that Ryu can make and the amount of energy he himself can withstand, the amount of energy he outputs comes out to around small town level. And no, I'm not gonna say Toji is island level because he beats up Dagon, because that's just not how JJK scaling works. We can't scale Toji to Dagon or Jogo's cursed energy reinforcement because he himself doesn't have cursed energy to begin with. He's an anomaly of his own series, and unironically because of this, it prevents him to be scaled any higher because we can't apply him to most methods that we usually go about scaling JJK. God, I was fully expecting to stutter there. That was peak improv right there, right chat? I think saying Toji's physical strength and Ryu's granite blast being in a similar tier isn't ridiculous to say, especially when Yuta, who is physically weaker than Toji and Maki, is capable of blocking some of these blasts partially with his bare hands. However, in my opinion, this is the best and most consistent scaling you can get for Toji's physicals. With his tools, he has means to take down opponents much more powerful than himself, which is how he always comes off so damn terrifying. But let's see if the human anomaly within the Jujutsu world could take down the human monster within the One Punch Man universe. When comparing their direct skills, I think Garou has a clear edge in hand-to-hand here. Reflecting Toji's own power along with any of his attacks that he throws is going to be a big problem for Toji. Toji could maybe predict his movements with precognition or apply Garou's moves like how Maki can apply certain fighting styles. But not only does Garou have better precognition, as he's capable of seeing what you could possibly do off of your center of gravity, but Garou as well has not only implemented basic fighting styles, but even fighting styles that are completely inhumane and counter practical fighting styles. You see, martial arts are usually built for, human to human combat, which is why when Watchdog Man uses this style on Garou, it throws him off so bad because he's not used to fighting something like this. And despite encountering a style he had no means of countering, he just adapted this to his own arsenal. I'm sure Toji is a master martial artist, and for all we know, he could be the Master Roshi or Jackie Chun of JJK. But we just don't know how much of a mastery he has in specifically, and all we know is that he has hands, but to what degree. As far as just pure physical stats goes as well, if we were to downplay Garou and highball Toji, Garou should still be significantly faster. And Toji upscaling from Ryu's Granite Blast is not nearly to the same degree as Garou upscaling from Genos' blast from season 1. The gap between Toji and Ryu is much smaller, meanwhile Garou and Genos have a much bigger gap. And even if we ignored those factors, just comparing the two feats that we are upscaling the characters from, Genos' casual incineration blasts are probably stronger than Ryu's average granite blasts. Which just goes to show you the gap between One Punch Man and JJK in general. Garou should be much stronger, much faster, and should just incapacitate Toji with really little to no effort. If the Soul Split Katana somehow lands, then that would be pretty bad for Garou, and I don't think he has any way of countering that. But I do think Garou isn't an idiot, and he would more than likely disarm Toji before it got to that point, and he would put him out of commission.